everyone, Jen Roque here at StampCampWithJen.com. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in beautiful Central Florida. Today I am going to show you how to use the baby wipe technique, which is a very classic technique. It's been around a while. It's definitely not new by any means, but I'm going to show you how to use the baby wipe technique to make this beautiful Christmas card using non-traditional colors. So before we get started, I just want to go over a few things. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is now available, as well as the magnetic plate. Let me show you that real quick. So the magnetic plate is great. It's got a self-healing cut surface. So when you put your dies and stuff up here, I mean, it obviously still cuts a little bit, but it absorbs a lot of that cutting that the dies do normally. So they are about the same thickness as your cutting plates. So when you do your sandwich for the dies, all you do, instead of using 2 of these cutting plates, you just remove one and use your magnetic cutting plate. And I'll show you that when we do the die cutting for this card, but I just wanted to let you know that those are available. It's very exciting. I was so excited that Stampin' Up! Released the magnetic cutting plate because I honestly use that all the time. Like, the only time I don't use it is when I use embossing folders, obviously. But for my dies, I really like it to keep my dies in position when I'm cutting. So I was really excited when Stampin' Up! Announced that they were releasing that. So that has been out since September 1st, and it's $24 for the magnetic cutting plate. If you're watching this video through my blog, or if you happen to go back to my blog from this video, I will have all of the supplies for this project listed at the bottom of my blog post. And the embossing machine and the magnetic cutting plate will be in that supply list, so you can click on it and shop it in my online store. Also, don't forget, if you do shop with me, which I hope you will, if you use my September host code, when you shop and you purchase anything under, like if your total is under $150 before shipping and tax, you'll get a free gift. And you have to spend at least $50. But if it's over $150, then you just enjoy your Stampin' Rewards and you still get my free gift. And all those details are on my blog as well. And I think that, one other thing, September is a great time to join my team. There's a Get and Go promotion right now where you get 2 packs of cardstock and stamp sets and a bunch of great stuff. All the details are on my blog, so please take a look around. If you are thinking about becoming a demonstrator, I really hope you'll join my team. So, okay, enough about all of the business stuff. Let's go ahead and get into the card making. So I have really been enjoying making these non-traditional colored Christmas cards, and the baby wipe technique, like I said, it's not a new technique by any means, but I thought it would be a fun technique to do for my class. So I'm just I always have some of these Pampers baby wipes. I use them in my class a lot to clean fingers and stamps and things like that. So we're just gonna take a baby wipe, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it and fold it in half, and then fold it in half again. So folding it into quarters, basically. And you need kind of a big paper plate, just so that you have kind of a flat surface to stamp on. I tried to use like a paper bowl, but when you go to try to stamp, your hands kind of they hit the sides of the bowl, so it doesn't really work that way. So the colors that I'm using today are Flirty Flamingo, Gorgeous Grape, and Coastal Cabana. So what we're going to do, it doesn't really matter which one you start with, but I have the Flirty Flamingo in my hand. So I'm going to make a few dots, and you just kind of sporadically do it. We won't need a big section because I don't really have any really large dies, so I'm not going to cover the whole baby wipe, but just a good section, because really the longest thing that we're going to stamp is this To You and Yours, and that should be fine in there. So now I'm going to grab Coastal Cabana, and you want to do it next to the other colors because we're just kind of filling in the blank sections, right, with color. And you don't want too many of one color right next to each other. So we can always go back and fill in spots if we need to. One there. Let's see. Put a little flirty flamingo in here. Light drop. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Might add a little bit more, make this flirty flamingo section a little bigger. Okay, so basically what I just did was I created my own ink pad by doing that. So you can get multiple cards by using this one baby wipe. Now the more you use it, the more muddled looking it will become. So when you start to notice that, I would recommend making a new baby wipe stamp pad. But it should last for quite a few cards. I watched a video with another demonstrator and she said she was able to get 10 cards out of hers. So I haven't tried making batches of them yet, so I'm not exactly sure how many it will last for. But so we're going to use the Peace and Joy bundle. I think I've mentioned this before in other videos I've done. This is seriously one of my favorite sets. I love the scripty words and it's just so pretty and fun. So it's a very modern stamp set and I just really think it's fun. Okay, so we're going to use this, I guess it's like a sparkle or a snowflake stamp. There's like a medium and a large one. So those are the two that we're going to use. It doesn't matter which one you start with, you just want variation. Sorry, that's really loud. So I am going to move my baby wipe over this side for a second. And I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock. So this will be, all the dimensions will also be in my PDF tutorial on my blog. I'm going to start with the big one actually, and then I can just kind of fill in the spaces. Okay, so when you ink this up, it's important to go straight up and down and not smudge it around because then the colors are really going to get muddled. So if you have to go back down, just go straight up and down until it's about how you want it to look. And then I'm going to start kind of off. And then I'm going to put it back in and kind of make another one. And you don't have to clean them in between. You don't have to clean the stamp. You just need to stamp straight up and down, apply even pressure, and then you'll have enough ink. And like I said, I'm just doing random. I'm not even, there's no rhyme or reason to how these are looking. I'm just kind of stamping until I get it about how I want it to look. And I've got so much ink on that baby wipe that I'm getting those great color variations. They're really rich and deep. Okay, so I think that's good for now. And now I'm going to go to the medium size one. See if I can move this over so you can see my stamping in the pad. There we go. So again, straight up and down if you need to, but honestly, you could go in once with it. And that's great right there. Just stamp and press evenly, straight down and straight up. Same with the ink pad, straight down, straight up, even pressure. And I'm just kind of sporadically moving the colors. Like I said, there's no pattern for this. I'm just kind of filling in the blanks now. And I want my edges to have something. That's what I love about this card. It's so easy. It's great for beginners because all you have to do is put even pressure straight down, and then you just make these little sparkles or snowflakes, whatever they're called. I'm not really sure. And then you just kind of fill in your blank areas. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And everyone will be different every time. It doesn't have to be perfect. I love little projects that are like that. Okay, so that is my background. So we'll move that to the side. And now we'll go ahead and stamp the Sending Joy to You and Yours, okay? Move this. Move my stamps. And I'm going to get some scrap Whisper White. So I don't know how you guys store your scraps, but it was funny. I watched a video by Michaela Tithridge. She's one of the former Artisan Design Team members from the UK. And she actually does this exact same thing. And I thought it was so funny. These envelopes I got off of Amazon. They're just little snap envelopes. I think I got like 30 for $10 or something. They were really cheap. I use them for customers. I use them for scrap paper. I use them for all kinds of things. So this is a good storage tip if you're looking for something to keep your scraps in. Okay, so now we're gonna get our stamps. Let's see here. The Sending and To You and Yours and Joy. Okay. Hopefully I don't lose my stamps while I'm doing this. These things are so hard to see, and then they're sticky, so they stick to stuff really easily. All right, so with these, you got to be really careful because as you can see, the letters are really small. So if you press down too much, you're going to get ink in those letters. So this one, you have to be a little bit lighter handed. Okay, you can kind of see, got a good inking there. So then I'm just going to use the edge straight down and straight up. So it's a little splotchy. So I'm going to try it one more time. Straight down, straight up. There we go. I think that might be a little better. Yeah, I like that. There's not as many splotches as I like to say. I don't know what the technical term is, but that's what I call it. Where there's just little white sections where the ink didn't match up. That's how, let's see if you can see it here. Yeah, see how this one, there's more like white space where the ink didn't meet up, whereas this one, it's more, you have like a little white piece up there, but that's not a big deal. But for the most part, the ink matches up and touches each other. The ink colors touch. Okay, so let's try this one. And these we're just gonna trim. Oh, I didn't use my own advice and go straight up and down in the same section. I moved around, and that's exactly why you go straight up and down in the same section, because their colors got too muddled and it didn't look good. So let's try this one. Much better. See? So this, let me move it up here so you can see. This one, I moved the stamp around the baby pad, the baby wipe, and that's what happens. The colors get all muddled and they're not very nice looking. This one, I did straight up and down in the same section, and the colors are more clear and not brown looking. Okay, so now the Joy, I'm gonna die cut. So I'm gonna move this one over just a tad. All right, let's see how we can get this one to look. Straight down and up, even pressure. It's a little, not quite how I want it. Let's try this one. Straight down and up, even pressure to get that ink to touch. There we go, that's a lot better. So obviously it happens to everybody. It happened to me, it'll probably happen to you too, but sometimes the ink won't all match up, but that's okay. You just try again. This is much better. I did the second time. The key is at least pressing down once, maybe twice, and then when you press down and press the stamp on this paper, really press it down to get that ink to spread over the stamp and not have those white spaces. So, all right, so we're gonna move these off to the side. Now I'm gonna bring in this beauty, the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. I love this thing so much. Okay, so some of you probably have one or have seen videos with other demonstrators using these. So the plates have the sandwiches on, what is that? On the base, which is fantastic. So every plate that you're going to use except for the cutting and the magnetic plates. But the base plate and the die cutting plate, the number 1 and number 2 plates, they have the sandwiches on the base, which is fantastic. So for your dies, you need a number 1. And let's see, what does it say? A number 2 and a 3. So this is a 2, and again on the number 2 it has the die sandwich, number 2 right there. So like I said, this is the same thickness as a cutting plate. So we're going to take that bottom cutting plate out and use our magnetic plate instead. And we're going to put our paper down. And what did I do with my dies? Oh, right here. Oh, goodness. All right. So now we're going to take the smallest Joy and put it right over the top. Now, if you have foam adhesive sheets, I actually ran out of mine, so I'm not using them for this project today. But if you do have them, you can cut a piece of foam adhesive sheet. It's basically a double-sided sticker, and you could put it behind the Joy and then die cut it. But I'm going to just use dimensionals right now because I ran out. So, all right, and then we put our other number 3 plate on. And we roll it through. It's so quiet. It doesn't make that big chunking sound like the Big Shot did. And we'll see. Voila. You have your Joy. I love it. Okay. So now move this to the side. My plates. Get realigned here. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we're going to trim with our paper snips. We're going to trim these little ones. That's what I love about this set too. Also great for beginners because you can easily hand cut these because they're just little block sentiments. So you don't need, I mean, it's technically fussy cutting, but you're cutting a rectangle, so it's not really that big of a deal, which is great. It's really easy. So there's the to you and yours. And here's my sending. So again, like I said, when you stamp, don't get discouraged if you have some white pieces like I did. It's not a huge deal. Just make sure that you're maybe stamping twice on the baby pad, if that happens, the baby wipe. And then applying even pressure so that the ink spreads on your paper. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we have our sentiments here. I'm gonna move these to the corner so I don't forget them. And now I'm going to get my Snowflake Splendor ribbon. I love this ribbon. It's so pretty and sparkly. It's gorgeous. So what I'm gonna do for this, I'm gonna take a piece of tear and tape and I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to put a little piece on either side of my card, probably about 3/4 of the way down. And what we're going to do is we're just going to cut a piece that's a little bit longer and we're going to wrap the edges and then we're going to tie a bow and adhere it that way instead of trying to apply the paper or the ribbon and tie it while it's being tied around the card, if that makes sense. So, need it a little bit longer. I love tear and tape. I have so many of my customers that tell me that they've fallen in love with it too. It just has such a great, strong hold. I love it. Okay, so we're gonna flip it and turn it over. You can see the tear and tape. And just stick it down. Okay, I've got a nice flat piece and then I don't even really need to trim that. Okay, so now we are going to take another piece and I'm going to kind of make a bow. I'm going to cut a piece. So you just make a bow like you tie your shoes. You do a loop, you swoop, you push this where your thumb is, and you pull. There you go. Now this ribbon is a little bit tougher than most ribbons. It's not like the soft ribbon that we're all used to. It's kind of wiry, I guess is probably the best term. It's a little scratchy, wiry feeling, but I feel like that gives it a better hold when you do the ribbon, when you do the bow here. That's kind of big. There we go. And kind of fluff it up. Oh, you can't even see that. I'm sorry. All right, so we're just going to kind of put it off to the side here. Actually, I'm going to wait until I put this on my card base first. So we'll go ahead and get some Stampin' Seal here. Okay, and then also if you're struggling with Stampin' Seal, all you have to do is, if it's not coming out, you might need to roll this piece forward a little bit, and then you just go straight down, roll it backwards, flip it a little bit, and go straight up. So roll it backwards, move it up, and pull straight up. Roll it backwards, tilt it up, and pull straight up. It seems like that is the biggest thing that people struggle with this new adhesive. So if you do that, I've honestly had no problems with the Stampin' Seal. I don't have it get all tangled or anything like that. So let's see. Okay. So you just put it on your Coastal Cabana base. Now we're going to put this bow on. I just have a glue dot here. And I'm going to put the glue dot on the back of my bow. And then I'm going to put it off to the side on the ribbon. And then I'm going to trim my tails with my snips here. Okay. All right. So now I have my Purple Posy card base here, and I'm gonna fold it in half and burnish it with my bone folder. Okay. So again, we're gonna take more Stampin' Seal. I probably should have put this on before I put the bow on. So when you make this card, put this on before you put your bow on. Okay. So now we'll put this on the card base. There we go. So like I said, when you do this card, make sure to put these layers on and then adhere that bow. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is first we're gonna put our sentiment on. So I have yet another fantastic tip. I watched another video recently where I saw demonstrators had these lines on their dimensionals, and I was like, what are those lines? And then I realized, because these are stickers and the white backing is the same color as the dimensionals, when you peel this backing off and don't see those lines, then you know that your backing's not there. So it's the sticky part is up and it's easier to tell. And I just thought that was genius. So I do that now. I just thought that was such a wonderful, wonderful idea. And I couldn't believe I didn't think of that before. Because I know it's really hard to see, especially depending on what kind of lighting you have. It can be really hard to see if you've taken the backing off, and then if you've got a bunch of backings that you're trying to do, it's even harder to see. So I'm just cutting these dimensionals down and kind of putting them on the back of my sentiment pieces, and then we're going to put those on. Oh, that one came off. It's okay. So we're just going to put sentiments, dimensionals all over the back. And like I said, if you have foam adhesive sheets, I love them so much. I just ran out of them and just didn't even think about ordering more for some reason. I don't know why, because I do love them and I usually use them. I've been using them for a lot of projects. I've run through them really quickly and I just didn't order them for some reason lately. But you can bet your bottom that I will be ordering some soon. Okay. And I'll probably do one more. Maybe wires. And then we'll try to put this around. I might have to cut this down a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Joy. We're going to put that down first. Okay, and I'm going to put the Joy right over the ribbon, and then I'll put the Sending here up at the top, and then that To You and Yours go towards the bottom. Okay, so now the last final flourish is to put rhinestones on it. And that's also a reason why we wait to do this last, is because you might have noticed that when I put some of these down, it covers up the holes in the middle of my snowflakes or sparkles or whatever they're called. So that'll also kind of show you how many, like where you actually need to put the rhinestones. So I'm just putting the rhinestones in the middle of each of these little sparklies. And I'm using the spatula end of my Take Your Pick tool to kind of help me place them down. Oops. If you have nails, I mean, you can do it with your nails too. It's just, sometimes I find it easier to just use this tool. And like I said, I think I said, I'm using the smallest rhinestones and just putting those in the center. And that just adds another little sparkle to this already beautiful card. Okay, I think that's it. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this beautiful baby wipe technique. And I hope you'll give it a try soon. Like I said, if you need any of the supplies for this card or are thinking about getting a Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine or the magnetic plate or any of the supplies, I hope that you'll shop my store, and don't forget to use my host code to get your free gift if you shop with me this month. It will be the Holiday Basic Rhinestone Jewels, or Holiday Rhinestone Basic Jewels, excuse me. All right, well, I really appreciate you stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you're new here, and if you're returning, thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you very soon with another project. All right, have a great day. Stay safe. Bye.